Sometimes the hardest thing to accept is that God's protection can feel like rejection. You thought they left because you were not enough. You thought the door closed because you failed. You thought the silence meant you had been forgotten, abandoned, or pushed aside. But what if God were not taking from you? What if He were protecting what He was about to give you? Because sometimes, before the breakthrough comes, God has to remove the person who would have damaged it, delayed it, or distracted you from receiving it. Sometimes He has to separate you from people who had access to your heart but no respect for your calling. And yes, it hurt. It confused you. It made you question everything. But by the end of this message, you will understand why that removal was not punishment. It was preparation. God did not remove them to destroy you. He removed them because your next season required protection. When God removes someone from your life, it does not always feel spiritual at first. Sometimes it just feels painful. It feels like unanswered calls, empty conversations, a door you never expected to close, a person you thought would stay suddenly becoming distant, cold, or unavailable. And the hardest part is that you may still love them. You may still miss them. You may still remember the good moments and wonder why God allowed everything to change so quickly. You prayed for peace, but God allowed separation. You prayed for understanding, but God gave distance. You prayed for the relationship to be restored, but God started showing you why it could not remain the same. And that is where the pain becomes confusing. Because you were looking at the memories, but God was looking at the pattern. You were holding on to what they used to mean to you, but God was revealing what they were becoming to your spirit. You were grieving the person, but God was breaking the pattern. Because sometimes the person you are crying over is connected to a cycle God is trying to end. A cycle of over-explaining, a cycle of begging for respect, a cycle of feeling small around people who should have helped you grow. And before God brings you into a new season, He will sometimes remove the access of anyone who keeps pulling you back into the old one. That is where the deeper truth begins. God did not just remove a person, He removed access. And access is more powerful than most people realize. Because when someone has access to you, they do not only have access to your time. They have access to your emotions, your thoughts, your confidence, your decisions, your peace, your weakness, your private fears, your sensitive places. And if the wrong person stays close for too long, they can slowly shape the way you see yourself. That is why God had to step in. You may have called it distance, but heaven called it protection. There were people who knew exactly how to make you doubt yourself. They knew what words would make you feel guilty. They knew how to pull you back into old conversations, old wounds, old reactions, and old versions of yourself. Every time you tried to move forward, their voice pulled you back. And maybe you did not see it at first because you were attached, but God saw the invisible damage. He saw how your peace changed after talking to them. He saw how your confidence lowered when they entered the room. He saw how your spirit felt heavy after giving them another chance. So He closed the door. Not because you were worthless, not because you were forgotten, but because your next season required protection. Some people could not keep access to you because they would have drained what God was trying to restore. They would have questioned what God was trying to build. They would have mocked what God was trying to birth inside you. And sometimes the breakthrough cannot come until the wrong voices lose permission to speak into your life. But this goes even deeper, because sometimes God removes people not only because of what they were doing to you, but also because of what version of you they were connected to. Some people were never connected to your future. They were connected to the old version of you, the version that apologized for having boundaries, the version that kept explaining your heart to people who had already decided not to understand it, the version that needed approval before making a decision, the version that stayed quiet when something hurt, just to keep the peace. And when God started changing you, you started getting uncomfortable. Not because you became bad, but because you became different. You started seeing things clearly. You started noticing patterns. You started feeling uncomfortable in places you used to tolerate. You stopped laughing at things that wounded you. You stopped shrinking yourself just to make other people feel powerful. And that is when the relationship began to shake. Because some people do not mind your growth, as long as your growth does not change their access to you. They are comfortable with you being kind, but not confident, available, but not healed, loving, but not discerning, present, but not powerful. They liked the version of you that needed them, but God was creating a version of you that needed Him more. And when that shift began, the separation became necessary. They were not always fighting your breakthrough openly. Sometimes they were quietly attached to the version of you that had not discovered it yet. They benefited from your confusion. They benefited from your insecurity. They benefited from your fear of losing them. But God knew that the new you could not keep living under the expectations of people who only understood the old you. So He removed them before the breakthrough. Because the blessing coming into your life requires a stronger you, a wiser you, a healed you, a you that no longer begs to be chosen by people God never sent. And if this message is speaking to your season, subscribe for more videos that help you heal, stay silent, and trust what God is doing. Because now God is not just removing people, He is making room. When God removes someone, the first thing you notice is the emptiness. The quiet feels louder. The space feels strange. The routine feels broken. The person who used to be there is no longer there. And for a moment, it can feel like your life has lost something important. But sometimes empty space is not loss. Sometimes empty space is preparation. Because God cannot fill a place that is still occupied by the wrong thing. He cannot bring peace into a heart that is still giving power to confusion. He cannot bring direction into a life that is still listening to voices He was never assigned to lead it. So before the breakthrough came, God made room. He removed the distraction before it became destruction. He removed the relationship before it became a prison. He removed the voice before it talked you out of obedience. He removed the person before they could sabotage what He was preparing behind the scenes. And this is why the separation had to happen before the blessing. Because some people would have celebrated your breakthrough in public, but secretly poisoned your confidence in private. Some people would have smiled at your elevation, but quietly reminded you of your past. Some people would have walked with you into the next season, not because they loved your calling, but because they wanted access to what God was giving you. God saw that, so He moved first. There is a moment in Scripture when Abraham and Lot separate. And after Lot is gone, God tells Abraham to lift up his eyes and look at the land ahead. The vision became clearer after the separation. That is not accidental. Sometimes clarity comes after separation. Sometimes direction comes after distance. Sometimes God waits until certain people are no longer close enough to influence you before He shows you what He has been preparing. The silence after they left was not the end. It was the space where God could finally speak clearly. But the hardest part is not always losing them. The hardest part is trusting God when you still miss what He removed. Do not chase what God is removing. That sentence may hurt, but it may also save you. Because sometimes your heart will try to reopen a door your spirit knows should stay closed. Loneliness will start talking. Memories will start getting louder. You will remember the good moments and forget the damage. You will tell yourself, maybe this time it will be different. You will wonder if you should send one more message, explain one more time, give one more chance, or prove that your heart was sincere. But before you move, pause. Ask yourself, am I being led by peace, or am I being pulled by pain? Because missing someone does not always mean they belong in your future. Feeling sad does not mean God made a mistake. Wanting them back does not mean they were assigned to stay. Sometimes you miss the comfort of what was familiar, even when that familiar place was slowly breaking you. And that is why obedience can feel painful at first. God may close the door, but you still have to stop knocking on it. God may remove the person, but you still have to stop giving them access through your thoughts, your checking, your explaining, your waiting, and your secret hope that they will finally become who you needed them to be. Sometimes the test is not whether they come back. The test is whether you trust God enough not to chase them. So pray before you respond. Breathe before you react. Stop checking what they are doing. Stop rehearsing what you wish they understood. Stop trying to defend your heart to people who benefited from misunderstanding it. Let God be your defense. Because once you stop chasing what God removed, you begin to see the hidden gift inside the separation. And that gift is this: God was not only changing your circle, He was changing you. The breakthrough God is preparing for you does not only require a new door. It requires a new you. Because if God gave you the blessing while you were still controlled by the same wounds, the same fears, the same people, and the same need for approval, you might carry the blessing with the mindset of the person who was still broken. So before God changes your situation, He often changes your spirit. He teaches you how to stop reacting. He teaches you how to stop explaining. He teaches you how to stop measuring your worth by who stayed, who left, who supported you, or who misunderstood you. He begins to rebuild the parts of you that betrayal damaged: your confidence, your peace, your boundaries, your discernment, your identity, your ability to hear His voice above every other voice. Because the breakthrough was never just about what God would give you, it was about who you would become before receiving it. That is why the removal happened first. God knew that the next level of your life would require a version of you that no longer panics when people leave, a version of you that no longer begs for love, a version of you that no longer confuses attention with assignment, a version of you that can walk through open doors without needing approval from people who were never meant to enter them. You may have thought the separation weakened you, but God was strengthening you in places no one could see. Every tear was teaching you surrender. Every lonely night was teaching you dependence on Him. Every unanswered message was teaching you not to chase closed doors. Every moment of silence was teaching you that peace is more valuable than access. And now, slowly, you are becoming different. You do not react the same way. You do not chase the same way. You do not break the same way. You do not need the same people to validate you. That is growth. That is healing. That is God preparing you for what your old self could not carry. So do not be angry that God removed them before the breakthrough. Thank Him that He loved you enough to prepare you before He promoted you. Because what is coming will require peace. It will require wisdom. It will require strength. It will require a heart that is no longer controlled by people God already removed. And now it is time to seal this message with faith. So if God removed them before your breakthrough, do not see it as rejection. See it as protection. He was protecting your peace, protecting your purpose, protecting your future, protecting the version of you that was finally learning how to heal. They may not understand why access changed. They may not understand why the connection ended. They may not understand why God separated what you once tried so hard to keep together. But one day, you will look back and realize the removal was mercy. God did not empty your life to punish you. He cleared space to prepare you. He removed the wrong voices so you could hear His voice. He closed the wrong door so you would stop missing the right one. So today, release what God is removing. Do not chase it. Do not beg for it. Do not keep questioning your worth because someone could not stay. Pray this in your heart. Lord, help me trust what you remove. Help me stop chasing what you are choosing. Heal the part of me that still wants access to what hurt me. Give me peace for this season, wisdom for my next step, and strength to walk into the breakthrough you are preparing. Because God did not remove them to destroy you, He removed them because your next season required protection. And if this message spoke to your heart, watch the next video. They thought your silence was weakness. God was rebuilding you.